Hello and very good afternoon to everyone. So I am Aditya and I'll be taking your session for this free webinar. So a small introduction about me. I am working with Pristine Info Solutions from past 2 years as a cyber security analyst, and I have my specializations in web application BAPT, network BAPT, and Android application BAPT. Also, I have worked on few cybercrime forensics and cybercrime investigation cases. So the topics that we will be covering for today's session are, I'll just share my screen with you. So the topics that we will be covering today are cyber attacks during COVID-19, that is the coronavirus that is being widely spread throughout the world. The second topic that we will be covering in today's webinar will be threats to Indians by Chinese hackers. And the third topic that we will be covering today is mobile hacking. So this will be the topics for today during our webinar, and I'll be covering the part regarding mobile phone hacking. Now, usually the mobile phones, specifically Android phones, are mostly targeted by the hacker so that they can gain much more crucial information or personal information from our phones, and maybe they can use this information against us. So basically, what the things they are doing is they are planting out a few rats inside our phones via sending fake links or via fake applications. Now, usually during this COVID-19 era, many of the news are coming up that the hackers are putting up fake applications on the Play Store so that they can gain access into our phone and steal all our personal data. Now, usually they're trying to gain monetary benefits. So they are setting up a few applications, and maybe the users who are installing it, their information is compromised, and after a few moments or after some time, they are facing a lot of issues like amounts are getting deducted from their bank account or due their UPI application, that is the Paytm and the Google Pay. Even these applications are showing up that lot of money or some amount of money is automatically getting deducted from their account. So usually these hackers are nowadays trying to gain access into these accounts, and they are just trying to steal the money, maybe small amount or large amount, as much as they can. So basically this is done by planting a few remote access trojans into our phones. So I'll be just demonstrating a small demo regarding how these applications are being made and what are the informations that are disclosed to the individual who is gaining access to our phone using rats. Now in this scenario, mostly Android phones are targeted. iOS applications are said to be most of the time secure because they are using multiple security measures, due to which any unknown application in case is getting installed, the security automatically erases it or automatically deletes the particular application from the phone. But Android phones are a large target for this kind of attacks. So what we will be doing, we will be just creating a small APK file and planting it inside our phone, and we'll check what kind of information or what all information is being given out or is displayed to the attacker who is planting this particular application. So for that purpose, we'll be using an application named Spynote 4. Now this Spynote 4 is an open source application, so it can be used by anyone, and it has two of its basic requirements. That is, it should have Java installed in our system, and also the .NET frameworks need to be updated to the latest version. Now again, there might be a question, is there any possibility of hacking a phone with a phone? So the possibilities we can say are very much less, but Nowadays, the scenario comes out is we can hack a phone using a system that is connected to a Wi-Fi network. So without wasting any time, so let's just begin with the process. Okay, one more thing before that, we will also be using concept of port forwarding. Now, with the help of port forwarding, we will be able to compromise any phone or any Android phone in any network. Not necessary that it should be constrained in the same network. Now, if you're sitting at one place, for example, you're sitting in Mumbai and you want to hack or you want to compromise a phone of an individual or of your friend or some of your relatives who is sitting in any other native place, that is like Pune, Nagpur, or some other place. So all you need to do is just use the concept of port forwarding. Now, for this port forwarding process, we will be in need of an application named Ngrok. Now, Ngrok is again a server, or we can say an open source application that helps us in forwarding the ports, and it is you don't need to pay anything for it. Just you need to create an account and it will give you access to each and everything or all of its features that you can use for compromising the phone applications. So we'll just visit the website of Ngrok. As you can see, we can get it downloaded also from here. Okay, so before getting or accessing to all of its features, you just need to create an account on this particular website. So I already have my account, so I won't be creating it again. Once you sign up, you will be getting a dashboard with this multiple options. Now, Ngrok is again an open source and it can be used on Mac, Linux as well as your Windows operating system. So once you have created an account on your Ngrok, all you need to do is just download this particular application for your Windows system. Now, once you downloaded it, and the time when you run it, it will open in the form of a CMD. That is your command prompt type. Also, it will provide you with a license key, or we can say an authentication token that we will be using during the phone, or we can say Android compromisation process. Now, a small introduction regarding the application. The application that we will be using for compromising will be Spynote version 4. Make sure you run this application as an administrator. The moment you run it, it will ask you for a port number. Now, each and every system contains 65,535 virtual ports, but this application has given a small restriction saying that you cannot use the port numbers that are given in the well-known range. So the well-known range starts from port 1 to port number 1023. So except this, you can use any of the port number starting from 1024 to 65,535. By default, this application is giving us a port number 2222. So not necessary that you need to use this port only. You can use any of the virtual ports according to your choice. So let's say for example, I will be taking 4545. After giving the port number, we are having an option saying open port. So we'll just click on it and the interface for our Spynote has started up. Now the basic thing that we need to check over here is this plug symbol. Now in case all the requirements for running this application are satisfied, then the symbol will be shown in green color, or else if any of the requirement is not proper, or if any of the requirement is mismatched, this particular application might give you multiple errors. For example, the Java versions or maybe the GRE environment is not properly set. So it will give up multiple errors in the very beginning saying that Java is not installed. Also, it will give you a button called fix. So in case you are having Java, but it is not able to detect the path for it, after hitting the fix button, it will automatically select the path for your GRE or the Java, and then you can run this particular application. Now we just did a short thing, that is we just selected the port. Now we need to make a few changes in this particular application before we create an APK file. So the changes that we are going to make will be in our Ngrok window. So I have already downloaded Ngrok for my Windows system. So once you open it, it will give up an interface as it is displayed on my screen. Now before running or before executing any command, we need to give up its authentication token. The authentication token will help us in forwarding of the post. So the authentication token will be displayed in the window connect your account. So all we need to do is just copy this authentication token starting from ngrok auth token and the entire token. Now in case you're using a Linux system, you need to copy it from the very beginning starting from dot slash. In case you're using the Windows applications, you don't need to copy the dot slash icon as it is only for Linux. Just start from ngrok, copy it and paste it in your ngrok window. Once you have pasted it, just hit the enter button. You will get a notification saying authentication token saved to this particular path. Now, the second thing that we need to do is to forward the port. So for port forwarding, we will be using a command ngrok.exe space TCP. Now over here to gain proper connections instead of HTTP protocol, we will be using the TCP protocol, that is transmission control protocol, and the port number that we have entered in our SPI node, that is 4545. So after giving this much information in our ngrok window, just hit the enter button and it will give us again a notification that session status is online. So the thing or the parts that we will be using for making an application will be this forwarding line, and the I will just show you the setup or how to make the APK for your Android phone. So we'll just go into tools and we'll just build the APK. Now by default it has selected the APK that we have already given it. So we'll just erase this particular port number and instead we'll be using a port number that is given by ngrok to us, that will be 19131. So we'll be using this port number and the host. Again, the host needs to be defined by our ngrok. So in this forwarding line, if you can see, they have given us the host num already. So we'll be using this as our host for creating an application via our SPI node. So after setting up the port number and host, we can set the name for the application. So we'll just enter a random name, Zomato. Server name, service name, and versions can be anything according to our choices. So we'll just set up a server name as new auto startup and we'll just set up the version to version 15.02. So this is the basic setup that we will be doing while performing or while creating an APK. Now, as you can see, the APK will be created with the default icon of our Android as it is displayed on the right hand side of our screen. So in case you don't want your APK to be created with this icon, you need to have .ico files or PNG files so that we can change the icons of our application. So currently we'll be just using the default icon. Second option it is giving us is to bind file. Now this is the most important thing that all the attackers are using. What they are doing, they are just binding this malicious application with a genuine application and then they are forwarding it to all their victims. Now these kind of attacks are laid on a mass level. The individuals or the user, those who are installing this particular application, automatically the access of their entire phone is forwarded to the attackers who is being trying to compromise the entire application or the entire phone. So currently we won't be binding this with any of other applications. We'll be just using the default application or the default APK that is being created by Spinode. After that, it is giving multiple options like CPU wake lock, root, protected, and Wi-Fi connection. So CPU wake lock, what it does, it gains the access of our entire CPU. Even if the user has locked his phone and is not using it, still we will be able to access all the features or all the utilities or all the things that are present inside the user's phone. Now, in case the phone is rooted, we just hit the root icon on. In case we have no idea whether the phone will be rooted or not, it is better to keep it off. If you are having any slight idea whether it is rooted, just turn it on or else keep it off. It won't make much difference. The next option that we are having is protected. This icon should always be turned on. The basic feature this particular protected is giving us is that once the user runs this application or once this user has installed this application and hits the application one time, it will be automatically become invisible from the user's home screen. The user again won't be able to see this application on his home screen. He'll just the application will keep running in the background and we will be having the entire access, but the user will be totally unknown from it. And the final option or the icon we are having is Wi-Fi connection. So we'll just turn it on. After selecting and making all these changes, we'll just hit the build button and we'll start creating the APK or the application file, that is the malicious rat file for our Android phones. Now it hardly takes a few seconds to create this file. Once the application is created, it will give up a notification saying APK successfully generated. So we can just hit show in Explorer and the file that was created will be displayed in our window. So what I'll do, I'll just transfer this application to my phone and I'll show you all the features or all the options that is being displayed by Spinode. So I'll just copy it. So I have received this application in my phone. So now I will just install this application. Make sure your Spinode window keeps on running continuously. Second thing, the ngrok window, the window that is showing the status online, this should not be turned off at any cost. In case by mistakenly you turn off this window, the access that you're gonna get will be gone completely. Now, as an attacking party, we just need to make sure that this particular window does not get turned off. So I'm just installing the application in my phone. So the moment I open up this application, my security is not showing anything on my phone, no virus detected, nothing, and I'll be getting entire access on my Windows screen. As you can see, it is giving a total display information that this is a new device, the screen is currently on, and this is the particular model of our phone. So to explore multiple options or more options that are available inside our Spinode, just right click on it and we'll be having the first option as tools. So in tools, it is giving us multiple applications starting with record calls, listen to microphone, show list of installed applications, device informations. So let us start with the basics, that is the information regarding device. Now over here it will be showing the external memory, internal memory, RAM, and the IMEI numbers and the SIM numbers of my entire phone. Whether the phone is rooted or not, whether the user is an admin user, that is the root user, or a general user. So all these informations will be shown in this particular window. After that, we got one more or we can say many more applications showing remote keyboard, that is from here, or by using this particular feature we can remotely dial up or call any user even from his directory or from our phone directory. The another feature that we can have over here is read SMS, even the GPS location. Now for the to get the exact location, the user should have his GPS on. If he is having his GPS on, we will be getting his latitude and longitudinal coordinates. After that, we can just enter the coordinates on the Google Maps and we can get the exact location of the particular individual who has accessed our malicious application. Also, we got another option saying listen to phone surroundings. Now, in case the user is somewhere and we just need to know what are the things going on around him, so we got this particular feature saying listening to surroundings. Even if the phone is locked and is kept in the user's pocket, we can still listen to the talks or anything that they are doing or with any individual or any conversation that is going on between the user and some other people. So I'll just stop it. Also, we got another application named File Manager. Now I can download or see entire data, the personal or anything that is present inside his gallery. I can even download those items, and once I got it, I can also remove them. So I can access each and everything that is present inside the user's phone. Even it can show us call recordings. We can manually change the background screen from here. We got one more feature saying read SMS. Now whatever SMS, that is text SMS that are available in the user's phone, we can get it from using this particular thing, but it takes some time to gather all the information regarding it. So we'll just keep it on standby. We can also send applications remotely to anyone using the victim's phone. He won't even come to know that this particular SMS are being sent via his phone. So these are the few features or basic features that are being provided by our Spinoff application. Now, to make sure that you don't get or you don't fall victim of any of this kind of attack, make sure that you are not. Yes, Parth, I got a question from you. As we can see, we got an option here named remote. So just select it and hit the removed button. You can also delete the data that is present inside the victim's phone. Even that can be done with the help of this application. Welcome, Parth. So these are the features, and in case you don't want to get or fall a victim of this kind of applications, make sure that you are not downloading any application that is unknown to you. Sometimes even our friends they forward multiple applications via WhatsApp or any other media. So this malicious APKs can also be forwarded using our WhatsApp medium. So in case you are getting any of this application from any other media, make sure you don't install it. Second thing, your system security and your phone needs to be updated on a regular basis. Even if the victim restarts his device, we will be having the application since the window is not yet closed from our side. The application will keep on running in the background. Okay, in case, now I got one more question saying in case we install this application and we want to remove it. So first thing, you won't be able to see these applications on your home screen. You need to go in your settings, all applications, and the list of all the applications will be displayed over there. So any application that is unknown to you, just make sure you are uninstalling it. Now your phones comes with inbuilt security or multiple anti-malwares. Make sure they are getting updated on a regular basis. Okay, so can this RAT be downloaded? No, this RAT cannot be directly downloaded. You need to create it manually. Yes, Nitu, there is a way. First of all, if you are having the malware anti-malware installed in your phone, they will do the automatic detection for you. In case you are not having the anti-malware installed in your phone, you need to check. You just need to check all applications inside your phone. That is the best way that can help you out to find whether this application is available or not. No, once this application is or this particular rat is uninstalled from your phone, the access from the attacker will be totally lost. He won't be able to see or do or record anything that is present or going on your Android phones. Welcome, Radhika. Okay, so this was a small idea regarding how this particular application works. Okay, so also had got one more question. Does it work as a keylogger or how to bypass the anti-malware? Okay, so I already gave you a feature that is present inside this spy node saying bind files. Now, if you bind this malicious APK with a genuine APK, the malware won't be or the anti-malwares won't be able to detect it. Now, there are multiple versions of spy node available, version 4, version 5, and version 6. Now, they keep on modifying these things and they have also implemented a keylogger inside it. So yes, this particular tool also comes with a keylogger. So this was a brief introduction or a small demonstration regarding the mobile phone hacking. Okay, so I had got one more question saying whether it is accessible via the desktop or a laptop. Yes, we can just check all the things from our desktop or our laptop screen. Okay, so this is all regarding mobile phone hacking. The next session will be taken by Rizwan sir. So Rizwan sir, handing over to you.
Thank you very much, Aditya. Good afternoon, everyone, to whomsoever present and attending this session from India. And I would be taking it further. It was nice to have a basic idea about how mobile phone hacking exactly works. So now I will be sharing my part of the screen and will be taking this part further. So as you know, Aditya has already explained you the basics of mobile malware, how exactly the thing works out, as well as certain things related to how remotely you can do the port forwarding and remotely get the access of it. But when we talk about the current world scenario where people are becoming smart day by day, and as an investigation officer, sometimes we also have to go with the offensive mode of investigation. You might be aware about the recent 59 apps, those are banned, who were actually Chinese applications. Now, any idea why these Chinese applications were banned by government of India? It's not because of the boycott policy or not deliberately targeted because China is trying to create some tension on the borders. So that's why these applications are banned. No, the actual reason for banning this application were leaking of data. They were stealing our data. It was a concern, it was actually privacy concern, right? So, what kind of privacy concern? Any application which you are installing in your cell phone gets or demands certain permissions to you. The permission that is demanded, I hope my voice is clear now. There was certain issue because of minor fluctuation in the internet. So, people were demanding certain extra permissions or forcefully they were taking the access of certain part of the cell phone where the permission is not actually granted but they are stealing the data. So right from TikTok and other applications which are quite famous where getting the access of the cell phone even when the app is not in used. For example, we found one of the application which was actually trying to access the data from your gallery and contact book even when the app is not running, and every time whenever the internet is on, 32 bytes of data is being transferred to certain servers located in China. So this was the major allegation being made. Now, state sponsored hackers are basically the hackers who are supported by the government to attack any other countries, people or government. So many state sponsored hackers have an edge where they can actually uh, hack with additional permissions, I would rather say. To show you an example, we made an application. I have made something known as scientific calculator. I made another application with the name Shairi and Quotes. So a lot of shairis and quotations are written over there. And there are some other applications we have made as well. And this is one of the app, android.apk file, which is present on my desktop in my VirtualBox environment of Windows operating system. These applications are quite famous now. Not very famous like TikTok and those, but still they have like 5,000 plus downloads, and they are present on official Play Store as well. Now, very similar to exe binder, very similar to file merger, there's something known as APK binder. Using certain programming part of Android, you can merge a malicious APK file with a genuine application. So imagine anyone who is downloading any of these applications which are present on the Play Store. So indirectly, they are going to download the malware. This is just for an example I am sharing you. So any application can have such a facility where it acts as a genuine application, but in the background it is acting as a pure malware. So now when we have the ready-made software which is live and acting as a malware and the user is installing it, so we have created a database to fetch this data as well in a good graphical user interface manner. Let me show you one of the malware which I am going to run in the Android cell phone which I am holding in my hand. I am installing this APK in my cell phone, and just after pressing next finish, the installation is done and the database would be available over here. We call this tool with the name Christine Spy since we have made it in our company and using it just for testing purpose and education purpose right now. I'm just signing in this application. When I sign in, you can see the database, what all information I am fetching of this particular cell phone. Right from the first information which is known as call logs. Call logs is giving me the data of all dial, receive and missed calls details along with date, time and duration. So you can see this application is giving me all incoming, outgoing and missed calls data. And not only the call logs, but there is an option with the name call recordings as well. So not only the call logs, but when I see over here, I have each and every recording available as well for this cell phone. So you can imagine the small APK file once injected in the cell phone of the end user, what all info can be shared. Message is nothing but SMS. Now this is something similar to what Aditya has recently displayed the demonstration. It is just that we have made it in a packed environment like an APK file, and we are fetching the data over a good GUI dashboard created for ourselves. Messages is something which is giving us all the SMSs right from inbox, outbox. Contact book is where you get all the phone book contact information saved. Again, contact is a very secret information and confidential information, especially when you are in the corporate world environment. No one wants to reveal their phone book. It can be misused. Apart from that, we have something known as mic recorder. Now, this is the feature which we have added. It allows you to start a microphone of any cell phone. Now, this particular tab allows me to hear this conversation of the people. Example, suppose I am sitting somewhere remotely. My victim is going for some important meeting. What I can do is, all I want is internet to be on. I can remotely trigger the command to switch on the microphone. Nothing will be displayed on the cell phone screen. His mic will be on and recording will be sent to me. Location tracking is nothing but keeping an eye on live GPS location. Screen capture is taking the screenshot. So whatsoever is running on the screen, whether it's WhatsApp or any kind of encryption being used by any chatting messenger, it doesn't matter. Screen capture is something which is going to take the screenshot of whatever being present on the screen of the cell phone, and we can get the data in the JPG format. Keystrokes recorder is acting as an inbuilt keylogger for this particular cell phone, and every type keystrokes will be recorded. So whatever you are typing on the chatting messenger, or the victim is typing or opening any website, his browsing history, his username, passwords, any typed keyboard or keystrokes button that is typed from the keyboard of the cell phone will be recorded. Some advanced features: turn on live camera, of course, requires high-speed bandwidth at both the end, and it can be performed live. This option allows me to switch on cell phone's live camera, and I can do a live video recording without actually popping up any message on screen. Then there's so many other options like install list of application, which allows me to uh, find out all the applications that are installed. I can forcefully uninstall any of the app which is present inside. Social media is nothing but you can get all the information right from other social media messengers like Twitter, Facebook. Internet activity is nothing but browsing history, where you can actually get the data of website being served by the end user. So you get entire browsing history as well. So you can see this small APK file can do such a big damage. This is what I have displayed you as a demonstration on the GUI interface if the app is made and a database is being configured on a dashboard. There are a few questions which people are asking. I would read some of the questions and I will try to respond so that everyone gets the answer. One of the question asked is, if the victim deletes this app for after some days, then can hackers still spy on the cell phone? So once the app is deleted, definitely the future spying is not possible. But whatever being spied upon in the past, definitely that data will be stored with the hacker's database. And the best thing is we do not require any port forwarding or any other kind of thing into this. Now, how basically these unethical hackers spy or get the user infected with this particular malware? So definitely they are going to try with some of the activities, which also includes the social media activity. Social media, also social engineering activities, I would rather say. Social engineering is nothing but a technique to basically perform an attack in which you play certain role without using technical skills. That means I'm not going to use a third party malicious virus directly, but I am going to either call him or email him with a pseudo identity asking to click on certain link or website, indirectly getting the access of it. So the topic which we are discussing over here includes many roles. Let's talk it in two ways. One, the way of attacker. Second, the way to counter this attack. So as an attacker, what all hackers can do to infect or inject this particular malware in the cell phone of the user. So first thing, definitely he will perform some social media or social engineering ways. Social engineering ways, just I explained you, like trying multiple ways to fool the user to click on any attachments or email which they are sending using pseudo identity. Second, using app stores. So the things become easy if you are technically very well sounded and you know how to play and upload your app in the app store. Many hackers have done this in the past. Many of the countries have done this in the past. And many countries are still doing it. Bypassing Google Play Store and uploading malware is not an easy task. There are multiple verification checks being done, but yes, it is not impossible. Countermeasure, I would say precaution is better than countermeasure. Many people are asking the question how to identify whether you are injected, how to know whether you are infected by this malware or not, and even there are questions how to remove this malware once infected. So precaution is better than cure, but any time I would recommend number one thing to find whether you are injected. So you are injected. So you can find it by going to install application. Remember, the app which you are going to install is not going to always have an icon or visibility on your home screen. There might be possibility app do not have any icon at all. And find out all the softwares which are running in your cell phone, and you have to segregate all the fishy applications which are unknown or haven't installed or which you are not using. And definitely if your cell phone is injected, one of those applications will be a malware. Second, if you are already injected, I suggest you to use a good antivirus. Remember, just relying on antivirus catches every viruses or malwares, but you can still rely on. And third, be aware of cyber hygiene policy. Cyber hygiene policy, which I'm talking about, is nothing but the basic countermeasures which one must take. For example, never click on any untrusted unknown link received from unknown sources. One single click on the link is enough to actually your system or cell phone. Just to share an example, uh, China viruses or China applications which you're talking about is not the first time that government of India has banned certain applications from being used in India. But if you know about this particular news of year 2016 end, that is December 2016, you might be aware of this. 4 applications were by home, it is government of India again. And this was the news because of certain applications like Top Gun. Many of the government officers were using and playing these kind of games and having these applications in their cell phone. These applications having the owner who belongs to Pakistan, and the nation was actually trying to spy on us using these applications. Be malicious app which is spying on the data of users. So you can see this news of December 2016, the earlier ban of government of India, and you know the recent news now 15 applications of China are banned. So if the government is supporting, yes, this is done. We have seen one of the very recent trend where people are with the name of some reputed companies like Jio, Flipkart, Amazon, etc. Some good deal and offer saying that share this link to 10 people in order to receive something, or visit this link in order to get one activated. Majority of those links are not the official domain name of this reputed website, but the domain of the hacker, which has either malware or any spyware in it. And I've seen even technical are sharing those kind of applications and links on various groups as well. So avoid those things, and this is a good cyber hygiene method. Any computer system connected to it is assigned with a unique identity. An IP address looks something like this. Phone number separated by 3 dots. Now, when I say every computer internet has unique identity, that means every computer system has a different IP address. IANA, Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. This is the which owns IP addresses of the world. They are the actual owner of IP addresses. And this company is globally allocating and distributing IP addresses across the world. So INA gives to ArcNet, Asia Pacific, etc., etc. Then it comes to ISPs, and ISP sells the IP address to the end user. So the IP as an end user, what we are getting is actually the IP address we buy from ISP. ISP buys from VSNL. VSNL buys from, and directly end owner is IANA. So by visiting the website like myIPaddress.com, or on by visiting Google, you can get what is the IP address that is assigned to you by your ISP, by your VSNL, and by IANA to your computer system. So just upon resolve, you will get the IP address. It's taking some time, but let's wait for a moment. So my give me a moment. I'll just rectify the connection. Just give me a moment. I will connect to a good internet, a high-speed internet, so that demonstration is very easy. Okay, I hope I'm connected back and everyone can hear me. Fine. So you can see when I open the website like whatismyipaddress.com, I see my IP address appears as 112 dot something something of Vodafone, and it is showing me the city where I am present right now. And this is showing me the city where I am present right now. So since I traveled from Mumbai to Ahmedabad to Delhi to Lucknow right now, and I am currently in Lucknow city, so it is actually displaying me the city of uh, my connection as well, and the country of origin, that is India. So this is my unique IP address assigned, and this IP belongs only to me and the entire world at this given point of time. Right now, no one in the world has this particular IP address. So everyone is assigned with a unique IP address. Any hacker who wants to enter in computer system of anyone So he first need the address, that is the identity of that particular computer system. So a hacker would want IP address of the person where he's trying to penetrate or hack into. In our case, my IP address is this. So a hacker would need this IP address in order to begin his hacking. And in order to compromise, hacker would be performing pre-phase of attack. This is not an attack, but this is pre-phase of attack, which is information gathering technique. This is just information gathering. It is not the attack yet. And a technical word is assigned to this information gathering, which is known as footprinting. So footprinting is nothing but information gathering technique in which you gather the information target before attacking him. So in footprinting, the first thing we do is finding IP address. The second thing which we should do is finding star. And once you have these two things done, then the footprinting is good enough, and all you have to do is then compromise the target computer system. So as an attacker, how can I find the IP address of my target, and how can I find the operating system? Now imagine if you want to hack into your friend's computer system, all you will do is you will call your friend and you will ask him to visit what is my IP address and what you are seeing over there. And if your friend is not technically smart, he will tell, okay, this is the number. But imagine if you want to target some other person who is not telling you the IP address. So then you have to go with some technical skill sets. Now we are learning this as an unethical hacker so that we understand it much better, and then we learn the countermeasure and the investigation. So as a user, I just visit google.com website, and when I open google.com, on the left bottom I see India is written over here. I opened Google, but it is showing me India on the left bottom. So Google knows I am in India. How Google knows I am in India is because Google has recorded my IP address, and Google has seen a visitor from India has visited. So Google has given me a customized version of the website for India. I went to some other nations in the past 3-4 months ago, and I opened google.com with that respective nation's internet. I was actually seeing the name of their country where I was accessing Google. So Google is recording my IP address. Now the big question comes over here is, who gave permission to Google to record my IP? Let me tell you a thing, it is not just Google, but any website which you visit on the internet has the capacity of recording your IP address. Every website records your IP. Every website is aware what's your IP, ISP, location, city, country, and many other details. For example, I have a very nice website made for myself, online.com. The website is made by my developer. All the tabs listed over here. Now, even this website can record the IP address and the logs will be available with me. All I can do is I can ask my friend to check my website and give the feedback how it is. As soon as he clicks on the link, the first thing that's going to happen is I will get his IP address. So finding IP is not a tough task. And that is the major reason why in the basic cyber hygiene method, I was telling you not to click on any untrusted unknown link received from unknown sources. Because once in can give you the sufficient information. And when you click on the link, not only the IP, but some other details also go there. So let me show you one of the website which we made for one of the investigation department, law enforcement, in order to spy on people who are actually with the criminal mindset. So the website is visitor.something.com. We have just uploaded a YouTube song on this particular website. You can see when I open this particular link, the YouTube song resolves. Now, since I have visited the website myself, my IP log would have been recorded by this website. So in order to see what log is being recorded, I will just log into the control panel of this website, and I see all the visitors logs available over here. There are so many visitors on this website. I'll come at the bottommost line, and At the bottom most, I see a visitor on 11/7/2020, 12:55 p.m. That is the current time. I see a visitor from this particular IP address has visited. That is 112.79 dot something something. And since I have visited what is my ipaddress.com website, I know this IP is actually mine. So you can see as soon as I visit this website, my IP log is being recorded. And when I see on the right hand side of that the IP address, it is not just the IP, but it is showing the visitor has visited the website using Mac OS X operating system. And the site is opened in Safari web browser. So the website is not opened in Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, but it actually is open in the Safari web browser. So you can see how much information is being revealed when you will click on any link which has IP logger facility. So imagine if you are a target of any hacker, what all information you will just by clicking on the link. And there is a button we are given with the name track. When I click on the track button, I actually see the ISP and the city where currently the person is present. So once, suppose if police department agency gets this IP address, what they are going to do next? All they do is they connect the ISP phone and they will ask for the KYC information of the person who was using this IP address at particular date and time. Once KYC information is being shared by the, you have all the information right from the address and all other details of the person. So indirectly criminals this method. So I hope you got sufficient information how exactly the footprinting works. At the same time, how exactly unethical hackers try to hack into anyone's computer system or cell phone, and how cybercrime investigation team tries to catch any criminal. Now imagine a crime scenario. Facebook.com, someone has created a fake profile. How to track it? So any profile created on Facebook, definitely Facebook.com also records the IP address. We as a user do not get the list of IP address that are accessing Facebook. We cannot get that. Only law enforcement officer has that. There is a separate URL created, that is facebook.com/records. This URL is only for police officers and law enforcement officers. If I visit this URL, it will ask me to enter and upload the documents claiming to be the law enforcement officer. And upon uploading the complaint copy or the FIR copy, I can actually demand the logs to Facebook directly. And Facebook will give me the log of IP address that was used to create the fake profile or upload any document, photographs, etc. So this particular IP fetching thing is used both by the criminals as well as by the investigation officers. The number of cyber crimes have increased, especially during the lockdown period, that is the corona period, because almost entire world working from home. Majority of the people are going without decent countermeasures in place. It's quite easy target for hackers to have mass audience getting compromised, or easily they can perform footprinting, gather the sufficient information required to hack, and they perform the attack. So few of the attacks which I have defined over here, these are the attacks which were quite trending, quite happening, especially during the lockdown period. I would like to discuss few of the attacks out of these attacks. Not every attack I am going to perform the live demonstration, but few of these attack things are very much required and very much important. If you see, the first attack which I have mentioned over here is known as email phishing. Now I have merged two keywords into this. Email spamming and spoofing is a different thing, and phishing is a different thing. Let me cover up both. If I say email spam and email spoof, spamming is basically sending unwanted emails which are junking your inbox. Spoofing is basically creating a false identity which looks similar. For example, it was quite trending that an email from ncovid19 at gov.in email is being sent. If you receive an email from this email ID, you would see that Government of India is sending you an email. But email spoofing is a technique where anyone's email ID can be used to send email to anyone. It's like you may receive an email from contact@rizwanonline.com with certain content in the email. It is not always mandatory that the email is sent by me. Anyone's identity can be spoofed. You do not require any credentials, username, password, or any kind of access. You can simply spoof the email ID using some good features or facilities easily available on the internet. So in order to identify, one must read email header to exactly find out the source where the email is being sent from. Phishing is something which is different from email spamming and spoofing. Phishing is basically creating a fake login page very similar to the original website. I'll give an example. The name of one of the reputed bank is ICICIbank.com. This is the original. I can register, if as an unethical hacker I am thinking I can register a similar looking domain name, which would be something like ICICbank.com or something like ICICICbank.com. If you see, both these domain names are different from the original website. If as an unethical hacker I am just trying to explain you, I can host a very similar ditto looking website on my fake domain name. Anyone entering their username password on the original website will go to original server. Anyone entering their username password on my fake website will come to my fake server. This is what phishing is. So one must carefully watch the domain name. That's the only and the best countermeasure I would say. If you watch the domain name carefully and then enter your credentials, definitely you would be safe from phishing attacks. Remember, this attack overall combined around 50% of the attacks happening across the world to compromise end users. So phishing is the easiest way to target mass audience. Now what these hackers were doing, email phishing technique, basically sending mass emails to billions and millions of people across the world with phishing links in it. People are considering it as a genuine link, entering their credentials, and ended up losing their username passwords. There are a few other countermeasures against phishing, right from SSL certificate, HTTPS, and then watching the sub URL and all that we can definitely cover in the full-time lecture that we are going to like send an email to everyone. You can definitely opt for the training and learn it in the full-fledged details as well. The things that are happening over email are also happening over SMS and messages. People are receiving emails and people are also receiving SMS as well as uh, messages on WhatsApp with phishing links in it. So SMS phishing is also trending in this particular time. Covering a few other attacks which are very commonly and happening. If you are aware about the e-commerce fraud that are happening, and yesterday one of the things started trending of Mumbai, where police video are getting viral saying that an officer is asking people not to receive call starting from number 140. So if you receive any call from the number 140, there might be a possibility that your bank account will automatically get hacked. This was the big hoax and rumor created. If you see mobile number starting with 140, and there are so many news which are even if you see, there is a news by Mumbai police and Maharashtra police saying these do not answer call from these particular numbers. It may be a fake call and it will hack into your bank account details. Just to tell you brief about this, any number starting with 140 in India, or basically plus 911409 is the country code. This number is defined by TRI for telemarketers only. That means telemarketing, that is advertisement, marketing purpose, promotion, branding. Companies are going to use the number which will start with 140. This is the regulation prepared by TRI. Now, many of the scammers, fraudsters are also using this particular number in order to perform scamming activities as well. It is a false statement if you say that just by answering the call, if you just receive a call and automatically your data will be compromised and your bank account will be hacked. No, it is a false statement. This won't happen. But if you share your any other information over call, like your credit card information, the OTP which you are receiving, then definitely compromise or hacking is possible. But just answering the getting hacked, no, that is a false statement. So this was quite trending since yesterday, and many videos are also being circulated. Please do not believe the exact detailed information mentioned in the video. It is a partial false information, but having said that, I am again saying if you reveal any of the information over cell phone, then definitely hacking is possible. So do not reveal any information like OTP and credit card and debit card information in order to protect yourself. E-commerce scam is something similar where fake e-commerce website is being launched, attracting users to purchase something online, make the payment, and they never deliver the product. So e-commerce scam is basically fake sites are created in order to scam users. Majority of the thing as we have already performed. I would like to discuss about one of the very big thing which is launched, that is known as DeepNude, an artificial intelligence based software which is again made easily available to the public on websites. And many fraudsters, criminals have started using this facility. I would like to tell you what exactly this particular technique does. DeepNude is based on AI. It has the capacity and capability of creating a nude image of any person. So imagine you have a photograph of any particular person. Uh, there is a possibility that you can undress the person using this particular technique. And hackers have made this widely available free of cost. You might have seen many recent trends. Example, sari trend, sari challenge. Many females have started uploading their photographs in sari and they made it public. What this many of the scammers and fraudsters did is they downloaded all these photographs. They created a nude image using the same photograph and they started defaming, stalking the females over the internet, are demanding the ransom amount for the same. So many big misuse can be done using such techniques and technology. One must be very careful what they are doing, what information they are sharing online. When you talk about countermeasures, there is no countermeasure against this. Any image which is being shared online can be modified, can be fiddled with. I won't ask users not to share anything on the internet. I won't recommend that, but try to limit your information that you are sharing online. Try to set privacy. Definitely you would be safe from few of the attacks at least. The things that we are learning over here are majorly covered in the certification training program known as CISEH, Certified Information Security and Ethical Hacking. The program launched for making beginners to enter into hacking industry. CISH covers up network security, one of the important pillars in order to begin your journey into ethical hacking. The second topic covered is email and app security. Another second pillar I would say in cybersecurity. Third is web security, a very important and third pillar. And fourth one is cyber law, law related to IT world. These are the four important pillars which are going to covered in the certified information security and ethical hack certification of prestations. Now these certifications basically helpful to make your career journey begin in ethical hacking domain. When I talk about the last part, which is cyber law, I'd like to cover up something important on it. Indian cyber law was formed in the year, so it is always known as Information Technology Act. Before 2000, that is in the year 1999, there was no cyber law in India. It started in the year 2000. Certain amendment to the IT Act has came in the year 2008 and 13. It's been almost 7 years, no amendment has came. IT Act 2000 has total 94 sections in it. I'd like to tell you what sections are. 94 sections. Every section represents a crime or a punishment. You might be aware of the most famous section, section number 66. Again in it, and it has been recently been scrapped, certain subsections of it. So represents a crime or a punishment. Now imagine any criminal caught sharing obscene content or stalking any female. So a case was filed under section number 67 and any of the subsection like subsection B. So how these lawyers basically speak, where we get confused at times and we don't understand how exactly the lawyer language works. So any cyber law criminal section being spoken, it will always start with according to Information Technology Act 2000. Section number 67, a case was filed against so and so person and court has announced the decision so and so. So this is how the pronunciation is being done. Remember, cyber law is not tough. It's very small. It's very limited. But learning cyber law is very, very important because you should be aware what is legal, what is illegal, and till what extent you can play with the technology. Cyber law not only formed for hackers hacking into any computer system, it is the law that is governing entire cyberspace. And cyberspace consists everything right from your cell phone, ATM machines, CCTV cameras, drones, any other smart devices, including desktop, laptop, hard drive, pen drive, softwares, emails, internet, etc. Anything which is a part of cyberspace, the jurisdiction will be of cyber law and it will be cybercrime if any crime has happened. So cyber law is not only for hackers hacking into any computer system, but it is entirely covering up entire cyberspace, right from cell phone, ATM machines, CCTV cameras, etc. So learning cyber law is another important part. And once a candidate is expert into pristine certification of CISEH, then they can undergo certain advanced modules as well. So I suggest to begin the journey only with CISH at the moment. Once you are very strong with CISH, then you can begin with certain advanced feature and learn VAPT. VAPT is nothing but vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. It is the name of the service to make some website can be hacked, so website should be made hack proof. And in order to make it hack proof, no corporate world environment is going to say that we want anti-hack service or hack proof service. These are incorrect terms and hack word is not used by any corporate world. So they're going to use the term we need VAPT service. So VAPT is nothing but anti-hack or hack proof service where you do the vulnerability assessment and penetration testing in a proper formatted way. You document it in a report and submit it to the corporate client. So in the advanced feature, you are going to learn the VAPT. But in order to begin your journey, I pitch everyone to begin only with CISCH. Remember, there are many hacking groups available in the world. You might have heard about the group known as Anonymous, an open group, anyone can be a part of it. There are some other genres group of the world as well. Example, ICW, Indian Cyber Warriors. This was a very famous group of India where uh, many of the big hackers were a part of this particular group, and they were actually trying to various uh, countries who have disputes with India, their systems and that. Then there is a group of PCA, that is Pakistan Cyber Army. Now they were trying to hack into Indian compress into Indian computer system. SEA, Syrian Electronic Army, one of the this group. These are the hacking groups which are very famous across the world. Many groups as well. Now these communities, these hacking groups are quite well associated with our companies. People, the hackers which are on board working in Pristine, who can be your trainers, they are the people who actually are a part of their many communities and many hacking. These communities helps you out to learn things quite easily. That is new in the market, easily available on such portals. So you can be a part of such communities, including ExpertDB and the names which I mentioned. But at the moment, learning those would be tough since you don't have the basic knowledge. So once you are a part of this, you will be a part of those communities and groups as well, where you can learn, and you will be getting many other case studies, as well as you can act as an intern for any cybercrime investigation projects as well. So I hope a bit in short how thing exactly works. Remember few of the cyber hygiene methods which are very important for every. You have already seen a small demonstration about how thing works. So few of the things: never click on, never run unknown attachments of, I would rather say, files, receive on any source like WhatsApp, email, etc. Now, if you follow these two basic methodology, I would say you have avoided 50% of the attacks. And always enter credentials after verifying phishing link. And this is the third countermeasure which I would suggest everyone to use. Phishing, as I again repeating the same thing, consists majority, almost 50% of the attacks perform are phishing attacks. If you know how phishing works, you would be safe from various mass attacks as well. So three countermeasures are more than enough actually to stop like 80 to 90% of the attack as an end user. There is a link shared in the chat box. I suggest everyone to fill out that link, and as Pristine, my team would be communicating with everyone to share the details of certain programs and also the topics which we have discussed over here. And for any further queries or doubt, I am always available on my direct email ID, which is contact@rizwanonline.com. And you can definitely visit my website, which is rizwanonline.com. You can visit the contact us page, and you can communicate with me on any social media sites as well, like from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. I would be definitely helping you out and responding with the queries you have made. There are multiple links been shared in the chat box. I suggest you to click on every link, fill the form properly. Your feedback is very important, and details that you're going to fill will be considered for further sessions as well. In the future, we are also planning to take certain advanced session which includes certain advanced part and advanced topics as well. Thus, I request you to fill both the links which are given in the chat box carefully. So we would be concluding the session over here right now. I suggest everyone to understand cyber things very carefully. Remember, the number of job opportunities in this particular profile is very huge. Still, in the current pandemic situation, since the number of cyber crimes are increasing, there is no physical world crime. Still, the demand for ethical hackers are high, even during this pandemic time. Less companies are hiring, but yes, there is a demand when all other profiles are almost terminating or firing their employees. The cybersecurity is the profile where people are still playing their role. So we are ending this session over here. For any further queries or unresolved queries in the chat box or question answer session, you can definitely drop me an email or communicate with me on any social media site. I'll definitely try to help you out. So we are concluding this session over here. Thank you very much for hearing. Please stay safe both in physical world as well as cyber world. Thank you very much, guys.